Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you a brand new series guys. What if Naruto was born 6 years early? With the Mokuton and the Sharingan, yes. With those two powerful bloodlines under his belt. The Mokuton being genetic, however the Sharingan would be implanted into him in a future stage. And bond with him completely. It will be special. If you guys want to enjoy, just sit back, relax, and yeah, enjoy. And don't forget to go ahead and check out the other channels. On Anime Prince, I'll be posting What If Naruto was sent to the One Piece universe and adopted by Shanks. So yeah, stay tuned for that guys. And also, if you're new, 4 channels link in the description. And if you want to read it for yourself, link will be down there as well. So go ahead and show some support. So yeah, without further ado, or wasting more time, what do you say we jump right into this brand new episode begin now guys. A young boy panted as he heard screams echo throughout the village. The ground shook violently as he looked up. In front of him was a massive, gigantic beast, 9 powerful tails switching all around. However, it was followed by something crash landing on top of it, that being a gigantic toad, who had just dropped right on the fox that had destroyed his home in mere moments. "Father," he whispered, knowing that there was only 2 men that can call on such a toad, and one was far away at the moment. The 6-year-old cerulean eyes hardened as his senses picked up his father, his mother, and the large massive fox. But there was also a new chakra as well, a small one. He knew what he was doing was endangering him, but he had to do something despite how young he was. He had to be there as he ran as fast as his legs could carry him, pumping chakra into them to increase his speed and get there on time. On top of a broken building, a silver-haired teen glanced around as he saw a streak of blonde hair running. His eyes widened as the boy was running straight to where the demon fox had reappeared, and the giant toad was forced to disappear. The silver-haired teen called out, "Naruto!" However, the small blonde did not listen, as the silver-haired teen cursed as he chased after him. Behind his mask, he was able to see, from the red eye that was spinning in his eye socket, chakra that was pumping through the boy's legs. "I have to catch him before he reaches the Kyuubi and Sensei. He will only be in danger," as he pulsed chakra into his own leg muscles. But he would not catch him in time, not before the both of them arrived in a clearing, only to see a gigantic claw tear right through an older blonde. The man looked towards them as his eyes turned towards the young boy and the silver-haired teen that was behind him. His eyes were golden and toad-like, red markings around them. However, they start to fade away. "Naruto, Kakashi, I'm sorry," he whispered, as his eyes then moved towards a woman, long red hair and golden chains from her back. "Kushina." The woman looked towards him with emotional and physical pain all over her face. The blonde-haired man made a final hand sign as he shouted the word, "Seal." The gigantic beast that had ravaged through their home started to be sucked into the boy on the altar. The small child starting to cry. Naruto took off. "Father!" he yelled as he tried to catch a larger man. Kakashi saw Kushina starting to fall forward as he vanished. He reappeared in front of her and catch her in his arms. He then looked to see the young blonde cradling his father's head that he rested on his lap as tears fell down his face. Kakashi reached up and pulled off the mask, revealing pained sorrowful eyes with tears of his own. "Father, say something," the boy begged as he grit his teeth, as he used all of his strength to shake the limp body of his father. When the boy got no response, Not even a sound from his father. A cry erupted from his throat, traveling all the way up into the heavens. As Kakashi stood gently, laying the still breathing Kushina on the ground, he felt a firm grip on his shoulder. Looking back, he was able to see a blonde-haired woman with a diamond mark in her forehead, as she had a look of pure remorse. She pushed Kakashi back down as she walked past him to walk over towards the young Naruto. Minato, I should have been the one to use that technique. Kakashi heard another voice as he turned to see an older man in ninja armor. The both of them looked back as they watched the woman pull the small child into a tight hug as she set his father's body on the ground. All the child could do was cry in her chest. The entire Namikaze Uzumaki family made a great sacrifice tonight. The old voice spoke once again as Kakashi looked towards him. Hiruzen Sarutobi, the former Hokage of the Hidden Leaf. Hiruzen walked over towards the altar as he gently picked up the form of a crimson-haired baby. Forced to be such a hero on the day of your birth and to witness the death of your father at such a tender age, this world is truly unforgiving. The man whispered in his own anguish. He too had lost someone tonight, his wife. Kakashi, the woman called out. Take Naruto and bring him back to the village. I'll take Kushina myself, the woman said, as she handed out the passed-out boy to Kakashi. What about Minato-sensei, Tsunade-sama? Kakashi asked, looking back towards the motionless body of the closest thing he had to a father since his own father died. I got him, Hiruzen said, as a copy of himself went over and picked his successor up, gently. With that, they left the clearing where a family had lost their father in the village, had lost their leader. Time skip. A few days later, Naruto sat at the bedside of his mother. His face was blank as he was looking down. However, her grip tightened as he was holding her hand as he shot his head up, only to see that she was still unconscious. His godmother Tsunade had told him that it would be some time before his mother awoke, if she even did come out of this coma-like state. The young boy never thought that he would ever go through something like this. His father dying after sealing the Kyuubi inside of his younger brother, his mother left in a coma-like state. As a voice spoke up behind him, Naruto-kun, I see that you haven't gone home and rest up, like I asked, said Tsunade. She walked in and placed a comforting hand on the boy's shoulder. I'm not ready for this, Bachan. Why it had to be them? His voice shot pain through her heart, as she had to hold back her own loss. Scars that were still very prominent of the past. She kneeled beside his chair. Naruto, she said, I have lost a lot of people. It is never fair or easy, and it will not be. But someone once told me that people give their life for others, so their precious people can continue living. Even if their sacrifice mean that they won't see them every day and tell them how much they love them. I want to make Dad proud, and Mom. I don't want to lose her. But I know, said Naruto. I know that she doesn't have long left, Bachan, said Naruto, looking up at her. Why would you say that, Naruto-kun? Asked Tsunade, as she had hoped that the child would hold on to hope that his mother would live. I just know, he said, as he looked down towards the dirt floor of the secret facility that they had brought his mother to. However, his head shot up as he felt his mother grip tighten on his hand, as she seemed to be fighting consciousness. Her eyes were open. Naruto-chan, she said, her voice low, her eyes filled with nothing but love. I am so sorry for all I and your father have put you through. For the past couple of days, he could see the regret all over her face. I want you to be the best big brother you can, and look after Menma for me. I know that you will do so greatly, and I wish I could stay with you both. He could see the pride in her eyes, as a lone tear ran down her cheek, as his eyes were raining tears down his cheek. Remember everything your father and I taught you, and pass it on to Menma. He's always gonna need you. Her grip started to lessen on his hand. Mom? Mom? Said Naruto, as he heard the monitors all going flat. As Naruto was shaken, seeing her not moving, no longer breathing, as he felt something inside of him rise up. He had lost them both. First his father and now his mother. He felt overwhelmed. Before he knew it, he screamed. He let out a scream of frustration and anger. The ground that was mostly a soil ground started to shake before roots exploded upwards. The cave soon filled by trees. As the gigantic trees rise up, they had cherry blossom flowers on them. Snathy was thrown back by the trees just sprouting out. As she sat where she was on the ground, a shock looked all over her face. As Naruto did not even seem to notice, or if he did, he was not focusing on that as he held his mother's arm. I promise, I'll take care of Menma. I'll make the both of you proud. I promise, Mom, he said as he held her hand with both of his. Snathy got up as she looked stunned. The Mokuton? She said with surprise. Time skip. It was roughly 2 weeks later. Snathy was sitting in the private study of the Senju compound. As Snathy sat relaxed, a saucer of sake in her hand. Naruto's sleeping head was on her lap. In her other hand she had a file. One specifically that brought up tears into her eyes as it brought back memories that she had tried to forget. I guess it all makes sense now, Naruto-kun, she whispered as she ran her hand through his hair. With you awakening your father ability. So, she was cut off as a deep voice spoke up. It seems you found that old file and connected dots. Long forgotten, Heim, a voice spoke up. As she glanced up to see a man standing there, long white spiky hair. Jiraiya, she said, as she set the saucer down. She picked Naruto up as she rested him down gently, as she got to her feet. When did you get back, she said. Not long ago. Seeing you has always been my first stop when you were home, he said with a smile, as his eyes glanced down towards the file. I guess it was only a matter of time before you found out who he really was. As Jiraiya stepped forward and pulled her into a hug, she started to shake as her tears started to spill out. As she held on to him as tightly as she could manage, she opened her mouth. He hushed her, as she realized that he was crying as well. I know. I wish it was me that invoked the seal instead of him. It should have been me, said Jiraiya. If I wasn't out of the village, I could have stopped him and... She cut him off from blaming himself. You couldn't have stopped him, she said. He wouldn't have let you. And you know that, you idiot. As Jiraiya rested his head on her shoulder, as he sobbed like a child. Rightfully so. Jiraiya of the Sannin had lost more than a student and an apprentice because of the attack, and so had Snathy. Time skip. The sound of flesh hitting wood could be heard all through the clearing as Naruto pounded his fist into the tree. The young boy was going about his recently started routine, uncaring of the presence that was watching him. So, this is why Snathy has to clean you up every evening, huh, kid? The voice of Jiraiya rang out. The boy did not respond though as he kept on punching and attacking, as Jiraiya sighed and decided to just watch and give him a few pointers. Tighten your stance a bit. You're leaving yourself open once you throw your punches. Once again Naruto paused, but when he attacked once again he tightened his stance even more, making Jiraiya smile. He understood perfectly why Naruto was acting this way. It was the same for him. Whenever something emotional affected him in the past, he always tried to close himself off from everything and just, focus and be quiet. A complete 180 from his original attitude. You know, the academy will be starting soon, but if you want, I can teach you as much as you like. All I want, as Naruto turned, is to protect Menma, just like I promised. His eyes were hardened and determined for a 6-year-old. Jiraiya walked over towards him and placed a hand on top of his head. I'll teach you everything I know, and then some, he said, as he smiled at the boy, earning a sad smile from the boy back. But we need to talk about what you did the other day. And what does it mean? You mean the Mokuton, said Naruto. Jiraiya smiled here and that. The boy was so fast, like his father, always connecting things rather quickly. Yes, that's right. It's an extremely rare technique. So rare that the only person that's ever been documented as a user is the first Hokage. No one before him or after has ever awakened it until you. So until you master it, I want you to keep it hidden, because it can place you in a lot of danger. As Naruto was surprised at how serious Jiraiya was being, it wasn't something that he saw often, but he nodded in understanding. But how will I master it if no one knows how to use it? He questioned, concerned that he might always have something to hide. Your Bachan is the granddaughter of the first. As such, he left scrolls behind for the family, in case anyone ever awakened it. I have already begun to read those scrolls, so when you're older, we can help you study it. As Naruto nodded, can we start training now, he asked. Jiraiya chuckled, but then nodded. Yes, but let's give it a bit more time before we start with your Mokuton, okay? As Naruto nodded once more, for now, we'll start with chakra control and refine your taijutsu. Have you ever heard of the style that your father used? Naruto shook his head in a negative. Well, I think he would have wanted to see you use it, so that is where we're going to begin. As Naruto gave him a nod, as a godson and godfather set off on their training, both determined to push Naruto's limit and see the boy wish come true. I won't let anyone I care about ever get hurt again, he swore to himself as he listened to Jiraiya explain his father fighting style. Time skip. 7 years later, Naruto found himself thinking about the promise that he made as he was looking at the reflective metal on his headband. As he traced over the leaf signal before, he pushed his hair back and tied the headband around his forehead. He stood on top of the Fourth Hokage monument, glancing over the village. On either side of him stood two of his former classmates, now teammates and friends. The first girl had brown hair that flew freely down her back. Her eyes were black and her skin pale, as she was wearing a high-collared shirt, grey pants that were tucked into brown shinobi sandals. On the back of her shirt, the Uchiha fan symbol was emblazoned proudly. This was Izumi Uchiha, top female student of the class, and one of his best friends. The other one was Hana, heiress of the Inazaka clan, and one of Naruto's oldest friends. She also had long, kept brown hair that was tied in a ponytail, tattoos on her cheeks, customary for any Inuzakas who were given their ninken, black top that was covered by a tan vest, tan shorts with a black shinobi sandals. Hana was extremely skilled in her family jutsu, to the point that she was given 3 ninkens instead of only 1. She was also studying the arts of a medical specialist. I wonder if Big Brother Shisui and Itachi-kun have heard that we graduated yet? Izumi wondered out loud. They have not yet, but I'll be sure to tell my son that you passed. A teasing voice made itself known as Izumi spun around with a crimson blush on her face. And I'm sure that you would let your big brother know, the woman behind them said. She had dark hair and dark eyes as she looked towards the group. Mikoto-sama, what are you doing here? Izumi said, as Naruto glanced towards one of his best friend's mother in confusion. Mikoto-kachan, you're our Jonin sensei, aren't you? Said Naruto, putting it together. Mikoto smiled, enjoying the title that she got from the blonde. That's right, Naruto-kun, she said. I, Mikoto Uchiha, will be in charge of Team 7. A wide smile on her face as she gave them a wink and a thumbs up. I can't wait to see what my cute little Jennings are made of. Izumi was a bit confused. But why were you chosen for us? Don't you have things to do with the clan? My husband was appointed clan head by my father. She reminded the young Uchiha, besides, who best to train you with the Sharingan, while Shisui is busy. And I did promise to look after Naruto-kun. And we can't forget my little protege, Hana. I am the best to train her with medical ninjutsu. All 3 of them smiled at the recognition that Mikoto gave them, as they were looking forward to be working under the woman. Now then, you 3 should go and rest for the night. Tomorrow, I'll be putting you through your first test as a team. All 3 of them saluted energetically, making Mikoto smile as they left in their own ways. Hana just simply making her way off with her ninkens. Izumi used a shunshin, surprising Mikoto. She probably learned from her older brother. Lastly, Naruto sat down, as he turned his gaze towards the setting sun. Is everything alright, Naruto-kun? She said. I just want to sit here and watch the sunset. Mikoto-sensei, said Naruto. As that earned a frown from the black-haired woman, she had grown rather accustomed to the Kachan suffix that he was adding at the end of her name. But she knew that he still thought of her in such a way, and the bond of a student and sensei was also very important. Do you think they would be proud of me, sensei? He whispered. She sat down next to him as she wrapped her arms around him in a comforting embrace. Both of them would be proud of the unbelievable young man that you have become. How diligently you work, the way you look after your younger brother, and becoming Rookie of the Year. There is no doubt in my mind that they will be proud of you, she whispered, as she pulled back slightly and reached out, as she wiped the tear away from his cheek. He smiled at her gesture though. I'm going to head home, but promise me, no more questions like that. You know that they love you, and even in death, their love can reach you and guide you, she said, as she leaned in and kissed him on the forehead, like she oftenly did. Don't be up here too long, I was not kidding, that I'll test you 3 tomorrow, and I won't be going easy, she said, as Naruto agreed, as she disappeared in her sunshine. Time skip. 6 months later. Naruto sat in a lotus position, his eyes were closed, as he wasn't wearing a shirt. There was a mini version of the blonde with crimson hair over to the wall. He seemed like he had just fallen off the wall. Again, the small version glared at him. Don't give me that look, said Naruto despite having his eyes closed. You're the one who demanded I train you. The crimson-haired child picked himself up, a pout on his face. But all you had me doing is walking up this stupid wall with chakra, and I can't even do that. He pouted, earning a smirk from his older brother. Your chakra wells are half the size of mine, and you're 6 years old younger than me. You need this more than anything, Menma-chan. As Naruto opened his eyes, revealing his piercing blue eyes that he was becoming famous for. You master this and the next step, and I promise, I will teach you the Haki no Ken, said Naruto. As Naruto closed back his eyes, Menma ran back up the wall as he fell back down, but still, he did not give up. He ran back up, and he still did not give up. He ran back up again. The door to the training facility came to an open, as both of them paused. You would not tell from Naruto given that his eyes were still closed. As a woman stepped inside, Naruto-kan, Uchiha Izumi is here looking for you. Send her in, Shizune-chan, and thank you, said Naruto. As Naruto got up and looked towards Menma, who seemed to be getting higher and higher on each try. As Naruto smiled and turned his head as a brunette Uchiha walked into the room. Izumi walked in, not much has changed, except for a red and white string that was hanging from her kunai holster on her thigh. A small blush came on her face as she saw the shirtless form of Naruto, as she tried not to let it show. Good morning, Naruto-kan, she said. I see that Menma-chan has pressured you into training today, she said with a giggle, earning a bashful look from Naruto as he rubbed the back of his head. Yeah, I figured that it would be a great time for me to train on what the Okamai tribe left me with, but he's not been too much help to my concentration, said Naruto, as he glanced towards Menma, who flipped off the wall and ran back towards it. You mean your new summons? Didn't you just get that contract a couple missions back? Asked Izumi. As Naruto nodded, I did, but since I was already a Toad Summoner, and unconsciously broke my deal with Gamabunta-sama, Shiro-sama has promised to teach me some of the more stronger techniques to make up for me having to deal with Erosenin, said Naruto. As Naruto chuckled slightly, remembering how furious his godfather had been. Anyway, was there something that you needed, Izumi-chan? The girl, Naruto unaware of the fact, blushed at the suffix that he used. Mikoto-sensei asked me to come and get you. She wanted us to meet at training ground for something important. As Naruto grabbed his black shirt and pulled over his head that was proudly displaying the Uzumaki symbol on the back. Menma, keep it up. I have to go and meet my team. As Naruto threw a kunai where Menma last reached. Get back up there and use that to mark your progress. Menma smirked as he saw how high the kunai was. Sure thing, be safe, big brother, he said, as Naruto waved goodbye, before Menma ran up the wall again, going after the kunai. As Naruto stopped in front of the door, as he took a blade off the weapon rack, a katana, as he unsheathed it slightly, checking the blade before sheathing it back as he threw it over his shoulder. As he started to lead the way through the Senju compound that Tsunade had raised the both of them at. Any idea what Sensei wants us for? Naruto asked. Izumi shrugged at the question. She asked the same question, but the woman never told her. She told her to wait until all of them get here. Not sure, but I figure that is already important since she's calling us on our day off. As they took off to the trees, the compound of the Senju was surrounded by trees. Arriving, they were met with their sensei in her normal envoy attire, along with their third teammate, with their 3 pups. As Naruto arrived, the pups rushed over towards him and tackled him down to the ground. "Hey guys," said Naruto, playing with them. "Hey guys, I know it's been a whole day since you last saw me," he said with a chuckle. "I swear, I believe sometimes they're more excited to see you than me," Hana said, making Naruto chuckle at that. "I'm sure you're all wondering why I call you here," Mikoto said. "Well, it's simple. For these," as she pulled out 3 white papers. "These are your passes in the Chunin exams." Chunin exams?" Izumi said, as she looked over the paper. "But, Sensei, it said that they're taking place in the Hidden Stone." "That's correct. Some of you might have heard that the third Hokage has been in talk with the Tsuchikage for a truce. Part of that will be a Chunin exams in our lands, this year being in the Hidden Stone. And I took the liberty of nominating all of you for it." "Mikoto Sensei, don't you think me going there would be a problem given how much they hate my father?" said Naruto. As Mikoto shook her head. "While there are some that hate your father for his actions in the last war, the fence sitter has sworn that you will be safe as long as you remain in the village, so long as it's during the Chunin exams," said Mikoto. She noticed Naruto sigh, but he then gave her one of his confident looks. "Then I guess I better show them what Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze is capable of." As Mikoto smiled at that, knowing that the boy was far more powerful than what his years would make you believe. Yes, he was just 13 years old, but his skills were high above that. Not only had she been training him, but Kakashi of the Sharingan and 2 other Sanins had been training him as well. Big brother Shisui and Itachi-kun would be so surprised, Izumi said, mentioning 2 of Naruto's best friends and sparring partners. "Actually, your brother and Itachi-kun will be a part of our guard detail." As Izumi was beaming hearing that, as Mikoto smiled towards her, the girl was happy to be traveling with her crush, which so happened to be Mikoto's own son. "So when do we leave, Sensei?" Hana asked. "Within the next 3 days, so we can arrive before the exam begin next week. Keep those on you and sign them. It is what you need to enter the Hidden Stone, and seeing that this is official business in another land, I hope I don't have to remind you 3 to be on your best behavior," she said. The 3 of them immediately saluted, earning a giggle from their leader. "Dismissed," she said, as she then poofed away. "A clone?" Hana said. "She must still be meeting with the Hokage and send a clone to tell us," said Naruto. "Well, I got to get back to Menma. He's probably making it to the ceiling by now," said Naruto. A few trees away, a man watched the group as Mikoto stood beside him. "He's quite the sharp shinobi, much like his father," Hiruzen said. "He's much like his father, yes, but anger him, and his temper is as explosive as Kushina-chan, and can be leveled, just like Minato-sama. I must admit, I was a bit hesitant about letting you step away from the Anvu to take them under your tutelage, but all 3 of them has become exponentially stronger in just a span of 6 months since they've been under your tutelage." Hiruzen praised her as he blew a cloud of smoke from his mouth. "I have no doubt that they will do well in these exams and go on to be splendid shinobis." "Thank you, Hokage-sama," she said, bowing her head. "Oh, no need for that. I have taken it upon myself to keep a close surveillance on the young Uzumaki brothers, and I appreciate that you did not mention that a full squad of Anvus will be following them alongside your clansmen. I am not quite sure why Oniki-dan was extended his hand out in this manner, but maybe he has grown tired of the wars, just like I have." "Does his decisions reflect through his forces though?" said Mikoto. "Exactly my thoughts, which is why I'm giving you explicit authority to kill anyone that harm your young ones, except for their opponents in the exam." While she hated killing, she had no qualms doing so for the ones that she loved, as she nodded her head without hesitation. Time skip. A month and 5 days later, one Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze stood across from the granddaughter of the Tsuchikage, katana in his hand. The fighting had yet to begin, but The blonde and the black-haired girl had a grudge since the beginning of the test. He really is a son of the fourth Hokage and that Uzumaki girl. Just seeing that stance bring back memories of the second and fourth Shinobi War. A short, old man said. His name was Oniki, he was a Tishikage at the moment. My granddaughter is no slouch, but he has certainly held back his true abilities, until now, Oniki commented. As Hiruzen nodded, who was sitting next to him. Naruto is at the top of his generation, in all but Genjutsu, those Uzumaki reserves. Hingence is ability to use them. But it make him quite able to easily break them though, Hiruzen said with a proud smile. Well, I suppose I should get my speech over with, before they begin their battle prematurely, Oniki said. As he floated from his chair and stood on the pedestal of the balcony, which was a Kage viewing box. Hidden Stone. I would like to take this moment to thank our potential allies and guests of Konoha for appearing here today and testing the genins of their village in these exams. He paused as all eyes were on him. Regardless of the outcome with this final match, we will be entering in a time of peace with Konoha. One that Hokage Danno and I believe will be prosperous for the years to come. He was surprised as he heard cheering from his people and Hiruzen's. Now then, he said, for the main event, Genin of Konoha Naruto Uzumaki no Mikaze and Genin of the Hidden Stone Kurosaki. You may begin! The moment those words left his mouth, both of them blasted forward. Kunai met katana as Naruto pushed her back with his katana, as Naruto was clearly winning with superior strength. However, a surprising grin came on his face. Bolt of electricity ignited itself on his katana. Her eyes widened as her kunais were being cut. She had to jump away. As she landed, she flashed through hand sign. Earth style, Duriso, she said. Spikes of earth rushed towards Naruto. As Naruto dropped into a loose stance and brought his right hand up with the ram hand sign. Uzumaki sword style, lightning strike of the wolf. He swept his blade across the area. The lightning converged together and created a massive head of a growling wolf. The bolt of lightning easily swallowed her attack. However, once dust and smoke cleared, he was no longer there, making her shocked as she looked around. He then reappeared right below her, his feet upwards. A brutal kick connected with her jaw. She heard him call out as another brutal kick made connect with her stomach, knocking her upwards, followed by another poof. Zoo, as the two clones used the original as a springboard, as she was blasted straight up, higher than the stadium. Maki, she could still hear them yell. Renden, she heard behind her. Uzumaki Renden, a specialized combo. As the last one, Renden, came from behind her, the original she presumed. Naruto slam and enhance, chakra kicked right in her spine. She was blasted through the sky. Her body slammed in the ground, creating a massive crater as she lay there in agonizing pain. However, she didn't have time for that as she saw him with a blue ball of energy in his hand. He shot from the air as she closed her eyes in fear. However, she felt no pain. She felt something landing beside her though as she slowly opened her eyes, as she saw those cold blue eyes looking into hers. I'll only ask you once. Surrender. I'm sorry, but you won't be a match for me, he said. She swallowed thickly. Proctor, I forfeit the match, she said, as she was barely able to move. As the proctor made his way over, the winner of the Chunin exams is Naruto Uzumaki no Mikaze of Konoha, the proctor announced. The announcement was met with a stunned silence except for a handful of Konoha shinobi cheering quite loudly. However, as Naruto reached his hand down and offered her hand, slowly but surely the people started to applaud as he helped her back to her feet. There was no longer that look of malice. His face had a kind, sweet smile that made her cheeks burn a bit. Thank you for the match, Kurosaki-chan. I look forward to a spar in the future with you. As he vanished in a body flicker, she watched a place where he once was, as she was not quite sure how to feel, especially when he had been so kind to her in the end, and she had been so awful to him during the earlier part of the exams. Don't try to understand it. Try as you might. Uzumaki will always surprise you, the proctor said to her. I told you before the announcement. Even before you came. Your hate is blinding you. She looked down sadly. I know, father, she said. I guess Gigi will be happy that I stopped trying to argue with him about it. As she glanced up towards him in the stands. I look forward to our next spar, Naruto-kun, she said. I will not lose again. As for Naruto, the first to reach him was his sensei, the woman almost knocking him down with a mighty hug. Naruto-kun, that was amazing. I'm so proud of you, said Mikato. Naruto chuckled. Thank you, Mikato-kachan, he said. I wouldn't be here without you. That was a really nice combo. You did well. A silver-haired young man said, wearing the Chunin vest, his tone rather lazy, as he knew exactly where the blonde got the derized taijutsu technique combo from. As Naruto smiled, thanks, big brother Kakashi, he said. Before he knew it, Tsunade, Jiraiya, Menma, and the third all surrounded him. That was a wonderful display, Naruto-kun. Throughout the entire finals, I am proud to welcome you to the rank of Chunin, Hiruzen said. As a big smile came on Naruto's face, he bowed his head slightly. Thank you, Hokage-sama, he said, earning a small chuckle from the old man. Time skip. Zabuza Momokai was not one to shy away from a fight. He lived by the sword. He would rather accept death and its cool embrace than run from anyone or anything. It was that same philosophy that earned him the status of a demon after prevailing in situations that other people would never have hoped to survive. But for the life of the famed swordsman, everything was now stacked against him, and it seems like there was no hope of him surviving. Let it be said though, as his eyes looked towards those clear eyes that were pure white, demonic form looking back at him, as he had just failed to assassinate the fourth Mizukage. As he let a chuckle escape his lips, I suppose Mei-sama was right, as he sank low into his stance, holding his massive blade over his shoulder with ease. I'll wipe your existence from this world, Momokai. The transformed Yagura growled, three tails swaying behind him. Your defection I allowed to slide, but this attempt, and you working for that harlot. You have damned your soul, Yagura growled as he stepped forward, the groan cracking under the force. I don't regret a damn thing, you miserable midget, said Zabuza. The beast vanished in a burst of speed. His eyes tracked the beast. He could see his movements, but he knew if that fist hit him, he was done. Regardless, he quickly brought his blade up to block the attack, not knowing if his blade would actually survive this hit. However, wood style, in sneering roots, a voice whispered. The beast was halted as vines exploded out and wrapped around it tightly. Zabuza-san, I was sent to make sure that you survive and escape. Zabuza glanced to see a man dressed in all black. All they could see was the bottom half of a white mask. Konoha Anvu. The voice of Yagura growled out as he felt his chakra being negated by these roots. Mizukage-dono, I would like to say it's an honor to meet you, but your reputation precedes you, even within my village. The masked ninja said, his voice not revealing anything. You'll just be another body, dead at my feet. The ninja was surprised as the Mizukage ripped out of the vines, despite his chakra being drained. Well, not all of it. Sorry, Mizukage-dono, but I have no plans of dying soon. Not for a very, very long time. As he reached for Zabuza's shoulder, the both of them then vanished. The Mizukage roared to the heavens as he smashed both of his fists into the ground, destroying it. What the hell? Said Zabuza as he looked around. He was still in the forest, but he could no longer sense the oppressive chakra of the fourth Mizukage. How did we? His confusion was clear as day, as he was unable to complete the sentence. It's a jutsu of mine. The Konoha Anvu panted a bit, as Zabuza realized that it must be a one-time thing, considering that he seemed a bit haggard. Inuteko. Oshi-senpai. Mission accomplished, he grunted out. It was then that Zabuza noticed two others. One with a silver, gravity-defined hair, with a dog mask, and another one with an ox mask, curly black hair. As Zabuza nearly paled at the crimson orb staring through the mask, it was because of that he realized who had came to aid them. Mei-sama was not joking when she said that Konoha was actually sending us some real help. he said with an impressed tone as he hefted his blade into the holster on his back. Considering that this kid just used a fame, technique of the four Takagi, and I'm steering down Sharingan, no Kakashi, and Shisui the teleporter. The revealed Kakashi sighed as he reached up and removed his mask, revealing his features. I suppose there is no point in the mask for now. You two are free to remove them. I'm sure that Izumi and Itachi has already done away with theirs, at the base. You're quite sharp for a supposed demon, the lazy Anvu captain said, with an eye smile. Zabuza chuckled, not quite sharp enough to detect this one behind me back there, or run away from a losing fight. He berated himself. If Mei found out, she would surely kill him. Oh, don't be too surprised. Naruto-kun has a technique that makes him undetectable, even to the greatest sensory ninja, said Kakashi. Could you please not talk about my abilities in hostile territory, said Naruto, as Zabuza glanced towards the blonde, piercing blue eyes. Well, I'll be damned, the son of the fourth Takagi, the young wolf. Zabuza whistled, as he was shocked that Konoha had sent this much muscle. Forgive me, Naruto-kun, Kakashi chuckled in a sheepish way. As Naruto chose to ignore him as he turned towards Zabuza, he knew this man's reputation, and despite not liking some of his earlier work, he respected the man heavily. He was a true swordsman and a shinobi. Zabuza-san, if you be so kind to lead the way back, I believe that it's time that we take our leave. As the four quickly adjusted to that as Shisui nudged Naruto slightly. So, you stuck in that head of yours, trying to figure out how to beat him. As Naruto looked up with a smirk, I'm looking forward to taking down someone as strong as him, said Naruto. Time skip. Naruto landed in a small, direct town, followed by Kakashi, Shisui, and Zabuza. As they landed shortly after, Kakashi had ordered for Naruto to take lead, him being their censor, and one of the members up for captain of the Anvu. This the place, Zabuza-san, the implanted Sharingan wielder asked. Just to confirm, yeah, there's a high-level genjutsu in use to hide any chakra signatures from most censor. However, said Zabuza as he glanced towards Naruto, we never had a sage-level kid to test them on before. I have not mastered the technique yet, Zabuza-san, hence why I chose to flee instead of fighting your Mizukage. Last time I and Ensama sparred together, I believe my max time was 10 minutes and 30 seconds. Ensama, Zabuza asks, a former Sanin of the Okamai tribe, who was once a shinobi before the era of the clan warring period. Thanks to his mastery of the technique, he's transcended any other summoner and actually become a member of the tribe, Naruto said. Wait, are you saying that the guy is over 100 years old, and he's actually a summoning wolf now? Zabuza asks. I do not know all the details, but from what I was last told from the leader of the tribe, N is known as a lone wolf and transcend even the power of the boss summon that I can call. If you will be willing to teach me some of your techniques, I may be willing to tell you more in detail, said Naruto. Zabuza smirked at the boys, bargaining, as he glanced towards the katana that he kept towards his back. I may just take you up on that, he said, as the door in front of them opened as four people stepped out. The first two was a Konoha ninja they sent ahead of them, Uchiha, Izumi, and Itachi. Third came a man with spiky blue hair, wearing an eye patch over one of his eyes, and in a battle, green GI. The last person to step out nearly made Naruto's jaw drop to the ground. She was a woman, maybe a few inches shorter than himself. Long auburn hair that spiked out and went straight down. A bang came down in her face, blocking one of her eyes. However, her visible jade eyes looked towards the blonde. With hidden mirth, I'd seen him evaluate her. To say that she was beautiful in her unique battle blue dress would be a real understatement. Zabuza-san, I'm glad that our friends reached you in time. Am I to believe that your self-imposed mission did not go as planned? She asked. No, said Zabuza. But before Yagura was able to stop me, I killed Jinpachi, and I recovered his blade. You were right, Mei-sama, he said. I shouldn't have taken the risk. The Konoha Anvus were surprised at his remorseful and respectful tone. They did not know that he possessed either of the other. It's okay, your risk paid off in the end. And I'm glad that our new allies brought you back in one piece. Hakukan will be relief. As she then turned towards the group, may I have your names, she said. Shisui Uchiha, Shisui, introduced himself with a slight bow of the head. Kakashi Hatake, Kakashi introduced. with his slight lazy tone. "Naruto, Uzumaki Namikaze," Naruto said, as both him and the woman's eyes met for a brief second, before the gaze was broken, as May nodded, walking straight towards Naruto. The group watched as she cuffed his cheek before kissing him right on the cheek. "Consider that my thanks for bringing him back in one piece," she said to Naruto, as her actions brought quite a blush to his face. Right," said Naruto, mixing the glare of his past Genin team member that was directed towards him and the beautiful rebellion leader. Izumi had come to gain feelings for him over the tenure of working with him, but she had not said anything due to her inner conflict with having feelings for the Uchiha that was next to her as well, that being Itachi. The future Mizukage smiled as she nodded towards all of them. "If it's fine with all of you, I would like to have a meeting to discuss how your capabilities would play in our future plans," she said, as the group nodded towards her. Time skip. A year. 365 days they had spent working with the rebellion. No one came out of this unscarred. Even Naruto, with his healing ability near to the first Hokage, had managed to get a literal scar. It went over his right eye and branched out in several different directions, showing that it was indeed a lightning ability that had given it to him. Not only had it marred his skin, but his blue eye had now fogged over, making him completely blind in that eye. But that had not injured him as much as you would think, having known that he was completely left eye dominant. He just had to adjust a bit to the new view that was only prominent in one. It did leave a blind spot on his right side, but a bit of extra training with his sensory ability over the span of a month allowed him to eliminate that weakness. Everyone was impressed with Naruto's actions with the rebellion, having twice gone into single combat with the 4th Mizukage, pushing the complete Jinchuriki into a stalemate each time. The first time being when he lost his eye due to the interference of Kurosaki Reiga, the wielder of the legendary Kiba blades, another one of the broken 7 ninja swordsmen of the Mist, as there was only 3 of the swordsmen still alive: Reiga, Zabuza, and Kisame. Kisame, who was said to be the tailless tail beast, leaving a year before they came to Kiri. Naruto was so lost in his thoughts, he nearly forgot the situation, but the cold steel cutting into his wrist easily reminded him of that. He could not recall the amount of days he spent in these shackles after his 3rd battle against Yagra, with him being captured. However, with that, Naruto was able to understand something. He was able to see underneath it. Someone was controlling everything from the shadows, but he was not quite sure who it was. His imprisonment, though, had not been dull. Yagra had taken every moment to try to examine his bloodline, his abilities, even torturing him for fun as well. Still, there was something about staring into those dead eyes of Yagra, as Naruto knew that he was being controlled, and not to mention he could sense another person in the shadows when the sessions were going on. Naruto chuckled as he closed his eyes for a moment, allowing his teacher words to run through him. Upon opening his eyes, 2 blue lines ran from the corner of his eyes, running down his cheek, followed by 3 whisker marks on each of his cheek, decorated in the blue lines, as they curved over his eyes, coming down, giving him the appearance of whiskers like a wolf. This was his sage mode. "Seems I won't need to be playing in their hand for any longer. Backup is finally here," said Naruto, releasing a wolfish grin. A look of near insanity came over his face. "I'm gonna rip that midget apart," he said, as he flexed his arm, ripping out of the chains that bind them. Meanwhile, outside of Kiri, the entire rebellion force was there, May and her support. Supporting them along with the Konoha ninjas that came here with Naruto was a battalion of Konoha ninja. The moment Hiruzen heard that Naruto has been captured, "Everyone, prepare for the battle of your life. Today is the day that we retake Kiri," May roared out. Just before she gave the order to charge, there was a violent explosion that rocked the entire building right in the center of the village, that being the Mizukage Tower. It was followed by someone sent sailing and crashing through several buildings, as Naruto Uzumaki could be seen, as he was in mid-air looking down towards the person that he threw. "I'm gonna make you bleed, you damn midget," he said, as he went after the person. "What are you waiting for? Move!" Shisui ordered. The city was immediately thrown into chaos at the center of it being a battle between Naruto and Yagura. Too violent and chaotic for anyone to get close. Naruto laughed as blood was running down Yagura's face. Yagura glared at him through the crimson liquid, having never seen the Uzumaki this unstable or powerful before. Go ahead, call up the power of the Biju. So when I kill you, I can rip it right out of you, said Naruto, baring his teeth. Yagura was surprised. Never has anyone wanted him to bring out the power of the Biju, but it seems like he has gone too far in his torture. As Naruto clapped his hand together, wood style, he said, "Deep forest emergent." Buildings were ripped from their foundation as the entire ground split open. The entire terrain was changed as massive trees sprouted out in all different directions. The Konoha ninjas were shocked. It would seem like he's breaking all his restraints. I had no clue that he could produce Mokuton on this level, Kakashi said. Shizu and Itachi were left speechless. A crackle could be heard that snapped them from their gaze. They turned as they saw. Their eyes widened. Izumi, she was stabbed right through the gut by Reiga. Izumi! Itachi and Shizu roared. Neither of them able to accept as she fell to the ground limp. As Reiga laughed, I told that dumbass that we should have killed that blonde and gave him a funeral a long time ago. I guess I'll have to clean up his mess now, Reiga said, licking his lips as lightning danced around him. Mei was about to move forward, however Kakashi stopped her. Don't. He just made this personal for two of the strongest Uchihas alive. They might kill you in their rage, with no remorse. Mei was confused until two blurs shot past them. Reiga was confused as a brutal kick landed on his kneecap, another one in his skull, flipping him. Both enraged Uchiha blasted him with a brutal kick right in his face, launching him back through a building. Reiga slowly got up, pain coursing through him. As a fist planted in his face, he was sent sailing across the ground. A kick then slammed right into his spine as he slammed hard in the ground. Get up! Get up, Shizu said, reaching his eyes as he saw what just happened to his younger sister. I'm not done with you yet! As Kakashi looked on in shock, it would seem that Reiga allowed them both to unlock the next form of the Sharingan, the Mangekyo. We might have to move out and let them handle this, Meidano. Mei nodded dumbly. Hate that she could not do anything for the girl that she thought of as a friend. I'll get to Ayo and see if he can do anything for Izumi. Search and destroy any loyalists that you find still fighting, said Mei. As Kakashi nodded, not that there would be many after Naruto Jutsu. Mei had felt it the moment he unleashed that jutsu. Hundreds of loyalists had been brought down. All it did was increase her worry for the blonde, who she had grown rather close to, as she quickly sped off. As for said blonde, there was a sick, twisted grin on his face. He was smiling, his hand was covered in blood. It was not his. Yagura, who had just transformed in his second stage, growled out as he looked towards a blonde in front of him. Naruto extended his hands wide. Come on, he yelled, as a beast charged towards him as Naruto rushed forward as well. The both of them tearing apart the ground as they ran, ready to meet each other in the middle. But guys, to be end subscribe right here. If you want the next person to do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. But I'm off for now. See you guys soon. Peace.